All right, everybody, welcome to our General Mentorship for the week. Today is February 6th, 2023. If you are able to turn on your camera, we love to see your faces. It also helps when we're interacting with you to kind of feed off your expressions and all those things. Thank you, Miss Kelly, was the first one to pop on there. This is your session each week where you can bring any questions about the notary industry that you may be struggling with. It could be anything at all that you are dealing with in your notary business. Before we get started today, I would like to say that if you are driving, we would like for you to remain off camera and in listen only mode. Please don't try to pose any questions. If you need help, you can always email us at help@notarystars.com. Now, if you're watching the replay, please include your membership number when you send an email so we can find out who we're responding to. But if you're watching the replay, please keep your eyes on the road. There's nothing that we go over in this session that you actually need to physically look at. You can just listen. And just a couple of announcements, just to make sure that you are aware, and I'll post them in the replay link as well. We have some upcoming events. So on February the 10th, Escrow Tab is coming to talk to Notary Stars. And that is coming my way because I wrote an article that was not putting IPEN in the greatest light, and they're going to come and answer some questions for us. And so if you've heard me talking about Ron and all of those things and IPEN, I am not the biggest fan of some ways things are being done, and that's okay. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but we've had a great relationship starting out with them. They're going to come and answer any of your questions. Now, we did post it in our Facebook group so that you guys could pre-ask them questions. And so they will answer a lot of those questions as they go along. And then at the end, there will be open for more questions. We will love it if you attend the entire event so that we don't duplicate the questions and make the most of the time. Another thing that I want to mention is on the 18th, I believe it is, Notary Stars Unlimited. Let me make sure I'm looking at the date here. It is going to be on the 15th this month. So if you have not watched our previous sessions, last year we did a 12-part series from everything of who are we assigning agents to training courses unleashed, where every trainer in the country that we knew of, we sent them an invitation and they showed up to show their care and concern for the community. So if you're looking to expand your resume, and then all the way to accounting. So we did a 12-part series of setting up your notary business, where you can go back and watch those series. And we covered every facet. That's under the Notary Stars Unlimited tab on our website. And then it's under free training, excuse me. And we also have relaunched that series this year. The title of that this year is We Are Stronger Together. And I want to mention this right at the beginning before we get into questions. And by the way, guys, go ahead and get those hands virtually raised if you got questions for us today, because I'm about to be done with announcements. Notary Stars Unlimited, we have partnered with some of the best state organizations in the country and are still forming partnerships. So far, we've got California Independent League of Notaries. You guys all know Matt Miller, California League of Independent Notaries. I want to make sure I say it right. He's given us some excellent presentations. We reached out to the Georgia Notary Network, which goes by the name of GAN. We met with Samantha Smith and Miss Candy yesterday, the president, and they are coming into Notary Stars Unlimited. And we've also brought in North Carolina as well. And we have meetings on the table to have them there. Beth and I have worked in the background. Why is this so important? Because every notary in every state has something that they would like to change about the notary industry. 7 or 8 years ago, all the notaries in Arizona band together and were able to bring the fees from $2 to $10 a signature. Huge hike there. They've been able to abate Ron in California because it's not going to work in the favor of the notaries. What we're doing at Notary Stars this year is our initiative, Stronger Together, is to emulate and teach how these organizations are fighting for their future in this industry. Believe you me, this is the time for us to get ahead of the game, then find out later we should have done something. So you want to be a part of that conversation as much as you possibly can. It is intimidating work, but it's only 1 hour a month, and we'll be pointing you in the direction of your best state organization that has nothing to do with training, but has everything to do with securing your future. For instance, after our last meeting, I have never written a petition before in my life. We have formulated a petition for Arizona because they have our RON fee set at $10 per signature. We're not allowed to charge any platform fees. We can't charge any more than $10 a signature for the notarized documents, meaning that if I were to try to perform a notarization, I am literally going negative. So there is no reason for me to provide this. However, Notarize can come in and advertise, which they're doing in all of our markets, and advertise for $25 a signature and farm that out to a notary for $5. It's not fair. So we've written a very eloquent petition. Matt Miller has helped guide us for that. And we're going to start putting this petition out after the this next meeting. We're going to show you how we did it, what that looks like, and then we're going to allow those Arizona notaries to sign it. And then when you put your petitions together, you can bring it back to Notary Stars so that we can help you get the word out with our reach and our user base to get people to share those. So that's just an example of what we're doing here this year. So if you haven't registered for that event, so far, we're only into February. 350 notaries have registered. Last year, when we started the first part of the series, it was about the same. And by the end of the year, we had over 2,000 notaries registered. We did make you re-register this year because we want to make sure, with a lot of people dropping out, that they're still interested in actually attending the events. But we're going to kick off with questions now with Miss Nancy. Miss Nancy, I am ready for your question. So is Miss Beth, and we can't wait to hear what it is. Oh, let me unlock the mute button there. There we go, Miss Nancy.
All right, perfect. Thank you. First, just to let you know, your video is glitching a lot. And second, can you confirm the time for the Notary Stars Unlimited?
Sure. Notary Stars Unlimited will be on February the 15th, and that is at 6 p.m. Arizona time. So that's 5 p.m. California, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 6 p.m. in Arizona.
Just making sure. Thank you.
Thank you. And Miss Odessa, you have your hand raised there. And guys, don't be afraid. This is a safe place to ask any question with something you need help with. And I know that everybody wouldn't be here if they didn't need a little help.
Hello.
Hi there.
Glad to be here. Okay, I got a question. I have a closing tomorrow. It's a refinance, and it is, they call it a SIMO, first and second signing together. I have never, it's like it's two refinances in one, I guess.
So what that means is it can mean one or two things, but usually they're getting a first loan and a second loan on their house. So if it's a refi, they're gonna get their first loan and then they'll have a home equity line of credit that comes along with that. Now, if it's a first-time home buyer, it could be a home loan and then an additional package for the home buyer plus if they're doing an FHA loan. So it really depends on, sometimes we don't know until we actually see the package, but it just means that there's going to be two loans in there. Generally, the second loan is a lot smaller paperwork.
Right. I just got the paperwork, and one of them was, the first one was like 129 pages. The second one was 76 pages for everything.
And is this a refinance?
Both of them says refinance.
Okay, then it's probably a home equity line of credit that's coming along with it.
Oh, okay. That's coming along with it. Okay. And they are paying me 2 fees for both of them. So
good for you, honey. Make that money.
Yeah, I was like, wow. Okay.
A lot of places will try to roll them into one. We have a lot of clients that come to Unlimited Inc. that try to get us to get the notary to do it for less on that second one. So if they're paying you 2 fees, good for you.
They are. And I got one more question. I did a package for this company in November of last year. I still haven't gotten paid. So I actually called the guy and he said that he's just having a lot of issues. Things are going on and he's really kind of running the company by himself. How much time should I give him, or should I kind of like just wait it off?
Would you mind sharing the name of the company?
Yeah, let me get my paperwork real quick.
Now, guys, this is going to be a really great topic, and I do know that there are some signing agencies right now that are really hurting, and this may be one that we are aware of. There are some signing agencies, is based on how they're doing it, then, I'll explain some things, but this is going to be a really great topic. So if you're going to hear some good stuff here.
Okay, The company name is Mobile Notary Zone.
Okay.
And he told me that he said, I still want to use you. He said, I'll pay you in a week or 10 days. He's trying to make enough money that he said, I'll pay you as soon as you do this next, if something is in Kentucky. He's trying to like catch up, I guess. He said, but I can't pay you for the one in November.
Let me tell you, I'm going to start out with Mobile Notary Zone, but then this conversation is going to get good. Okay. So Mobile Notary Zone, my heart has literally gone out to them. I actually phoned him personally. He is a competitor, but I called him and offered him any support that I could give. He didn't ask for any support, but he literally sent out a mass email to 800 people. And he's not hiding behind a computer screen. He put his personal cell phone number out to 800 notaries and said, look, I got handed a raw one. And I don't know what the entire story is, but I do know that with the downturn of the market, companies close, they don't pay their files. If they go bankrupt, the signing service can't go bankrupt. Unlimited Ink actually updated its user agreement in case this ever happens to us, because I've never thought. And luckily, one of my companies did go bankrupt and they only needed to pay one file. But we will never get that file paid. We paid the notary. Now, he's getting ahead of the situation, and he has told me that most notaries have been very understanding. I do believe he's going to pay you and that he really wants to. When I talked to him on the phone, he said to me, listen, I'm moving my office right now. I'm closing my office. I'm going to work from home. I'm not hiding behind this. I'm going to make sure that I make right on this. And he put that in his email as well. I didn't work for him, but I know notaries who do. I do believe he'll get paid. I would just be a little bit more. I know you want your money, but I would be a little patient, only because he's not doing this is where it's going to get good. He's not doing what some signing services have done to us in the past, where they close their doors and then they don't tell us the truth. If you don't mind, I'm going to piggyback on this. And I'm so glad we're talking about this today, because we have a lot of people watching right now. And I want to let you guys know some things that you need to know about getting your payments back. And guys, get your hands raised so that we can go into more questions after this. A couple of things that I want you guys to understand about payments. We have notaries that work with us at Unlimited Ink, and our payment days are 30, 60, 90, depending on the client. We usually try to pay within 60 days. For most signing services, you have to understand, if the file goes through, we keep it at 60 days, even if we do get payment within that 30 days. Sometimes our clients, if you sign on the 1st, we send them the invoice on the 30th for all signings done that month, and then they have 15 days to pay. That's putting us at 45 days to process and then send those payments out. During that process, if it goes through some kind of lender approval, and you guys all have been trained to say, this is going to go through, and there may need to be updates to these documents. We've had plenty of situations within that 2-month period where we call the notary and we say, oh, they found an error that you did that didn't get caught in quality control. And they go, well, I've already got my money. I'm not going to fix it. Too bad on you. You should have caught it. So that's also given us a little fail-safe. And I'm still learning about the best way to run a signing agency. So the first thing I want you to know is always understand your payment terms. And I actually wrote an email to signing order today. We always tell you to try to keep a copy of the payment terms. Unlimited Ink actually puts it in the notary order so you can see what those payment terms are. But I noticed in signing order, you click to get that order and click to get in there, but then you can't see that agreement anymore. You can't go back to it. So I always say, if you got the order, screenshot everyone somehow what their terms and agreements are. But I've asked signing order to see if they would make a suggestion, see if they would make it where you could always go back to the clients you've worked with to see those agreements. And they're really good about updating the platform. So we'll see. I literally wrote that out today. The first thing is you want to know their payment terms. What did you agree to? Even if you're driving around, just because you were driving around and you accepted an order fast, I say that with love, doesn't mean that that bypasses those agreements that you sign or electronically sign. So you know your payment terms. Now, if they don't pay you within a reasonable amount of time, there is a law that keeps you from going after people too much or calling too much or doing things. You want to make sure that you're following your state's rules on how you collect payment. So the first thing is you send a demand letter. You can send that by email. You can send it certified mail. However you need to do that. And you want to look up your state specific agreements. Now, if you get to 6 months you're probably not getting paid unless you follow some real actions. First of all, you can go through a company called Legal Shield, which I'll tell you, I call it legal crap. It has not helped me in one bit. In fact, I love when they call and try to get me to become a customer again. Maybe you'll have a better experience, but the attorneys that they had working for them in Phoenix, Arizona were awful. We needed to use it for a particular thing years ago, and it was awful. And every time they call, I tell them not to do it. But you can get an attorney service to send a letter for you, or you can just send one that says you're CCing another attorney that may or may not exist. I have done that in the past. But once you know your payment terms, if it's well outside of that, if you've sent an email, if you've made a call, you want to keep records of those things, you can turn them into debt collections. And I see a lot of people on the internet, and this is the juicy part. I see a lot of notaries on the internet going, put it on the Better Business Bureau. I'll tell you, recently I had a notary attack me for personal reasons, and they went to the Better Business Bureau and left all this crap. Well, I called the Better Business Bureau, and one of their things, Yelp, Google Business, all of it, if you state in there that you're a contractor or you've ever worked with that company, they'll just remove it. And if they can't prove who you are, like the Better Business Bureau, they're just going to remove it. So you can't make up an email either. They put in a bogus phone number, a bogus email, and within 5 minutes of that conversation, they removed it. Same thing with Yelp and Google. So there are protections for bad reviews out there. It's good for you guys to know as well. So people can't just really do those things. But what you want to do is, if you want to really get someone, is write the estate's attorney general, and they specialize in regulating businesses. Sorry about that, guys. They specialize in regulating businesses, and it forwards from one fund to the next. So when you write this attorney state's general, maybe you won't get your money back, right? Just from that one letter. We have a company here in Arizona, and I'm not going to say their name because I live in the same neighborhoods with these people. And but we have a company here that has pretty much gone after a lot of notaries. And what they did was they opened a company, and then they ran up a huge notary bill, never paid them. I actually had one notary tell me that at one point they called and he told her, if you call me again, I'm going to put your invoice at the bottom of the stack and never pay you, or you'll never get paid. This is a bully. And they closed that company and then opened a new company and did it all over again. And we're talking, it's got to be hundreds of thousands of dollars. Turns out their mother also owns a signing agency here. And this person actually works, from what we can find on the internet, at Fidelity, of all places, or a Fidelity related company. So what I've advised notaries to do is write the attorney state general about this person, about that signing agency, and let them know. Also, if you contact signing order where they're hosting their business, and say, look, here's their payment terms, here's what I agreed to, it's not happening. If it comes through SnapDocs, those companies will actually remove them from the platform so they can't get on there. And if you've been taken by one of these bad companies, now just because someone has 90-day payment terms does not mean that they're a bad company. If that's their payment terms, Notary Go has gotten a lot of you off the ground, and they do pay, but they're usually 60, 65, 70 days, and their payment terms are up to 90. You agree to work with them. That is not their fault if you agree to those terms. They do pay, they just pay slow. And we can all complain about that, but we all get our feet wet with those companies. And as we build, we should be looking for better payment terms. Now, use your attorney general, because what's happening is, and from what I can see, this person's formulating a true business, and a debt collection company can't go after them really, because they have to go after their personal social security number. So if you contact your attorney general and you prevent them from being able to open another business until they've resolved their other business issues, because in my mind, and this may not be the right way to explain it, an EIN is what we get when we file for a business, is only a mask for our true social security number, to keep things from coming back to your social security number. This person actually works in all the databases and uploaded their direct phone number and social security number and all those things. So I may have passed that along to a debt collection company and, you know, try to help notaries. And I hate that that happens, but I want to tell you, going to the Better Business Bureau, writing reviews, that stuff might work, but going to your attorney general for your state, who governs new businesses or bad businesses, this is where you want to put your information in so that you can stop these people from doing it. And I'll tell you, there's probably just as many good signing agency owners as there are bad ones. And with that said, I'll go to the next question, but remember not to wear a chip on your shoulder with every signing service that you work with because of the bad ones. You should always have an open mind. And then it's just like the people that you surround yourself with great signing agencies and just don't associate with the bad ones. Don't treat them any worse, just don't work with them. Because they have access to leave bad reviews and things like that if you get too smart with them. Just I have some that I would never work with, and I just brush it off like I'm busy. It's almost like fun to say to someone you know that you're not going to get paid from, I'm busy, I can't help you. I probably, you know, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking probably could if you paid me, but you know, just keep it to yourself under your breath. You know, I'm busy. That's the best way to deal with those. We're going to move on to Miss Eva.
You have one quick question in the chat, Ronnie. Nancy wants to know if you recommend that they join the Better Business Bureau.
Great question. Sorry, Miss Eva. I'll get to you in 1 second after this. So joining the Better Business Bureau, yes and no. It's one more place that you can get. When's the last time you went to the Better Business Bureau to look up something? I mean, I remember the yellow pages in the Better Business Bureau used to be the big things.
Mhm.
That's not where people go for information anymore. You get a place in Google for it. If you do it, make sure that your business name has the word notary and your city in it. Otherwise, the SEO of the Better Business is only going to be for your business name. So if it's something that consumers are going to type in, then yes, you might be found, and that's one more place on the internet that you, and my marketing students will understand this, it's one more place in the internet that you can dominate on the first page. But if your business name is not something that people are going to actually Google, like Notary Public, Ocala, Florida, or have those words in it, it's not going to come up and benefit you. And then it leaves one more place for someone to go and review you poorly. I like to put my information into places where I have a lot more control. And I will tell you, I've gotten a bad review on the Better Business Bureau from most people will go there when they don't get their way. And, you know, as a notary, part of our job is not letting everybody have their way. You know, we work on customer service, but sometimes the answer is no. And so I've had people use that against me when they didn't get their way. You know, if it's a notary or somebody that works with me, then I can get that removed. But it's another way for people to kind of bully you into getting their way. So it's knowing that, make your own decision. I am a part of it for both Notary Stars and Unlimited Ink, but just depends on your personal preferences. If I was just a single notary working with signing agencies, not growing into a signing agency, or not trying to grow a husband and wife team, probably wouldn't spend my time or money or efforts going to the Better Business Bureau. Now we're going to go to Miss Eva there. Thank you.
Hi, Ronnie.
Hi there.
And everyone. I have 2 questions for you, Ronnie.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a list of the companies who have not paid in the past?
Absolutely. So on Notary Stars, every single member has an access to the blacklist. You don't have to be an upgraded member. Even the free listings have access to the blacklist, and that is located under hiring companies. It is the 4th link under, and it says Blacklisted Signing Agencies. And that list is actually handed down to me from people at higher ups at these scheduling platforms that won't work with these companies because they're that bad. And we try to keep that updated as possible.
Okay. And my second question is a twofold question. In December, it was my renewal for my background checks.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, some companies, you know, when you get close to your renewal period, you don't get as many orders.
Mhm.
But now I finally got that done. I took the time and sent that to most of the companies to upgrade my profile. But now here come March is my commission. This is my year for my renewal. So
Mm.
I have to do the same thing with that again. So I got kind of frustrated and I couldn't wait to this mentorship because I didn't want to text you or email you and ask you. I said, I'm gonna wait. I'm not up to date with no more companies with my background check until I get my commission. And then I do my background check, my commission, and my new W-9 form all at one time. Because I feel like I was doing double the work. I mean, I wanted my orders to come in, but I kept getting these emails saying, hey, you expired, you expired. I'm like, okay, let me see it in my background check. But then now I'm getting these emails again. Your commission is about to expire. And it's like, come on now. You know, it's a process to do all of that.
You know, I agree with you. I'm gonna tell you, my background check was just due again, and I do it to myself. So if anybody has a better method of doing this, maybe Miss Beth does. So I do this to myself every year, or every time I have to renew, I start earlier and earlier. So it's, you know, and I start getting those emails, and I think, okay, well, I'll go ahead and renew it, and then I start the process, and some people email me earlier, and I start the moment the first person emails me and says, hey, your background check is going to be out of date. And then I start updating, and it feels like I spend 2-3 months every year doing it. You know, I'm sure Miss Beth has a great system or something of calendaring those things. I'm always afraid of letting it slip. You're in Arizona, correct?
I'm in Missouri.
Missouri. I do know with the Notary Commission renewal, I would check with your Secretary of State and see what their turnaround times are, because if you're in a large state like Washington or California, it can take a long time for the renewal. So you want to see, I think Miss Kelly, who's up next, and maybe she can comment when she does come up, I think in her state there was like 902 applications that needed to be processed when she called. I think there's a way for you to find out like what the turnaround time is and gauge it based on that, and then do your background check and everything all at once.
But only reason I couldn't do it because it's like there is a 4-month gap between both of them. Meaning if I did, I would end up doing one twice in 1 year. Meaning my background is in December, my commission is in March. But I have spoke with my Secretary of State. I did all the testing and waited on them to send me my paperwork. But she was so funny. She said, well, Eva, let me tell you, we don't start this till February. And I asked her, I said, you know, we can't do certain things after a certain period. And when I get my letter, I got to set an appointment to come to you all. Then I got to set another appointment to get all my stuff together to send to the NNA to get my stamp. That's not a fast turnaround. I mean, I have paid for Express to get it done quicker. Is there a way I mean, I would love to have them all on the same day, but if I did, like I say, I'll be doing a background check twice in 1 year, because the commission you can't do twice. You want to do that once every 4 years. So would that make sense to do it twice in 1 year just to try to get it caught up together? But then, like you said, you're having to update. Your time is getting earlier and earlier. My date used to be December the 28th. Yeah. And now I'm in December. Now I'm December 12th.
Miss Beth, do you have a process that you think would work best for that?
No, but I have to tell you, I'm in my 7th term as a notary in the state of Arizona, and they all started out in December. Everything was perfectly timed, and certain events required that you do things like your background screening and some of those things earlier than your commission. Your commission is always going to be the same renewal date, regardless of whether they're late or not. If that application's in there, by the time they finish your commission approval, it's still going to have the same renewal and expiration date that you would have expected to see. It's that background check and NNA certification that gets out of whack and out of sync, because you have to do it a little earlier. When we had COVID, And nobody was working in the offices. Everybody was doing it from home. Everything was completely backed up. So our recommendations at that time were to do our background screening ahead of time to make sure that we had plenty of time to have it come in. And they'd either turn around quick or it'd be really slow. So we'd end up with a commission in December and our background ending up being in August by the time all of our renewals. And there's just not a whole lot you can do about that, Eva. Again, unless you want to pay for a second background screening, maybe a second NNA certification. And then the only way to really take care of keeping track of that is with a spreadsheet. What companies need that info, and January you send them all your W-9, and when you get your commission renewal, you got to go through them all again and send them your commission. But that's also a time that you can kind of weed out the companies that you really don't want to work for. So,
and that was my next question to Ronnie. On that list, that blacklist, last year I had so many problems with 3 different companies, and I hope they're on your blacklist, because I told myself I'm gonna delete them. Yes, I want your business, but I don't want you to feel that you can say anything to me or treat me any kind of way for your business.
Yes.
So
So guys, we do have, you have the ability to add in your memberships. If you're at the Notary Star level, you can add in comments on any of these companies. So we have all of the companies listed, and if there's new ones, you can put them in. When they start to go too far south, okay, when you guys are putting in dislike, 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 they can wind up on our blacklist. So use your words professionally and put them into Notary Stars. We get notified every time someone comments on one of those companies, and we'll keep an eye on those companies. And we're not like Notary Cafe or 123 Notary where you can go out and read the forums, because I don't want that kind of SEO to make Notary Stars what it is, because it's actually hidden. We don't put that out in the internet. And also, to protect you, that doesn't mean that somebody can't screenshot what you write about. So that's why I say use your voice professionally. But yes, they can wind up on the blacklist of companies if enough notaries have reported them. We can put them up there, and we can direct people to that forum saying, hey, you may want to think twice before you work with this company. Thank you, Miss Eva. And then Miss Kelly, you are up next.
So to answer your question about the backlog of notaries in Washington State, the reason I was having so many problems with getting my license updated with my RON was they had a backlog of 8,000 applications. Now that could be 8,000 applications for new notaries in the state trying to do loan signing business, general notary work, or whatever. Well, they brought in a team to help them, and which actually hurt them. So again, start early. Every state is different. It took me about 2 weeks to get my license figured out, straightened out, because I had to talk to a live person. Anyway, so my question or comment or just inquiry is, you talk about the company in Arizona, I guess, that was fraudulent to the notaries. My question is, if they're working for one of the largest companies that so many of us are trying to get on, what type of work are they providing back to that company? And how trustworthy are they with that client information if we take it so serious, when we take it so seriously? I mean,
good question. And if you read the Notary Cafe thread about it, it's actually directed to ask those questions to Fidelity, and the 3 presidents of Fidelity for this region are posted in that Notary Cafe forum. Good luck ever getting a response back, but let's see how long they keep a job when every notary in Arizona and across the country writes them going, how can you employ a crook? Now, they maybe have already lost their job from this, but I will tell you that their LinkedIn profile page still shows them as an escrow officer assistant for Fidelity, or Chicago Title Company, which is a part of the family of companies for Fidelity. So I encourage anyone that's been ripped off to do their due diligence and ask, how could you employ someone who would do this to notaries that work for you? It doesn't matter if it comes through a signing service name or not. Yeah, or if they're maybe their files didn't come from Fidelity, but it doesn't matter. If you're that close to money being moved around and you're a criminal, you shouldn't be able to work in title and escrow for sure. And the only reason this hasn't gotten caught, the only reason that this person hasn't got caught is because they've been smart enough to close a business. They didn't file bankruptcy on that business. If they filed bankruptcy like a man would do, and handled their stuff, and I say that because I hope that they're watching. If they handled their business like they were supposed to, if they went belly up and filed bankruptcy, or if they did what this other company that we talked about earlier and just said, hey, I am screwed, I'm going to help you, then great. But they should not be able to just close one business, open another one, and keep running. And the only reason that they're doing that is because they have an EIN, they close one business, close all their listings, and start over with a brand new business. And no one has made them ante up yet. And so I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. Keep on with your
Oh,
question.
no, you're okay, because when you talk about during our downtime and getting a side hustle until we wait for our primary notary to pick back up,
Mhm.
a lot of those side hustles, they like the fact that we're a notary. They
Mhm.
like the fact that we've already gone through a background check, that we're bonded by our state. We have $1 million insurance. They like that. They trust us. But if we're, as you say, at the bottom of that food chain, because we are, how do we depend on reasonable offers when they come through? Because I'm sure, like a lot of people out there, oh, a signing, oh my God. And we get in there, we're like, oh, we took it, we really wanted it, but look who it is, or God, I hope they pay on time. I didn't have the time to really research them, or I've never heard of them. Where did they come from? That type of thing.
I just
I'm,
had this call with a notary.
I'm sorry for
I
being a tangent.
just had this call on the Notary Stars hotline this weekend with that the mother who owns the other signing agency of the son who's done all this corrupt things. One of our notaries, actually, and part of your notary circle, picked up that signing. And but we looked at the mother's company, and the mother's company has no bad reviews. There's no negative things about non-payment against her out there. So I advised the notary. I said, go through with it and use it as a learning experience. As you build, every signing agent out there is going to build their list, not over 1 year, not over 6 months. There's going to be a brand new signing agency open up, even if you have direct business. There may be a brand new signing agency open up that has business in your area, maybe something like Purple Bricks or whatever those companies are. We have one of the big clients at Unlimited Inc. that we do nationwide business with, and they may open up a spot like our big client. They just opened Oregon, they just opened Los Angeles County and Ventura County. They're out of Austin now and will be servicing Jacksonville and permeating areas. They may be opening new areas in your area. So you build your business over time. And one of the biggest mistakes I see with notaries is they put all their eggs in one basket, whether it be a direct client or a signing agency. And we all see how that can happen. My funniest story ever is my biggest direct client, $150 a file every single time, was amazing. And I walk in one day with 3 files to return in the morning, and I'm like, hey, Tracy, sup? And she's like, I'm like, where's all the boxes for? And she's like, do you need any paper? Because we're closing. I'm like, what do you mean we're closing? She's like, I'm retiring. And I'm like, you don't think you should have discussed this with me first? I just got married. Like I have more mouths to feed now. And I learned a lesson. So you build your business and continue to build your business, and you weed out the ones that don't. And to this day, I mean, just 3 years ago, I had an attorney who ran up a $6,500 bill for Unlimited Inc. I had to go sit in their office 2 days in a row and get split payments because it was that bad of getting payment just to pay my notaries. So I won't work with them anymore. They loved our service. I did not like having to go beg for money and sit in a parking lot and wait for the attorney to come in from court. So you build your business and you learn who you work with, but that process will never stop. It will be ongoing your entire career. And that is part of being a business owner. How can I get more business? How can I find better business, and I'm not talking ill of any of our clients at Unlimited Ink, but I have to tell you that we have some clients that pay a lot and very easy to work with, and we have some that don't want to pay anything and are just a pill. That's business, but we treat them all the same. We treat them because, let's face it, sometimes the ones that want to pay less and have a lot more problems may be the busier ones during that season. You can't say no to money when you're in business. To your point on side hustles, though, I do want you to know, and I've said this in several areas, and I love that we have so many viewers today because I want you guys to hear this. We are in a downturn market, but there is a lot of hope. I hope that you're following mine and Abraham's podcast, and I hope that you're following everybody else out there that's helping you find work. But one of the biggest mistakes you will make as a business owner, not just as a notary, but as a business owner, which you are, even if you're doing this as a side hustle, one of the biggest mistakes that you will make is to put yourself into a box that says, I can only do this. That is not true. There is so much you can do as a notary, as a mobile notary. So, and I don't want to hear excuses, because there's something for everyone almost in a major city. Miss Kelly wrote me, and I'm still researching that there's online court reporting now that pays, I think, $25, $30 an hour. Uber and Lyft are always a quick go-to to get the money coming in that you may need. Door dashing. And what I love about Lyft and Uber and door dashing is you can pick your areas that you want to stay in and just stay in that area in case you do, and you can put your mobile printer and mobile scanner in the back. I personally love dog walking. I totally hate myself for breaking my foot on Thanksgiving this year because I missed my biggest season is between Thanksgiving and New Year's. I'm not kidding you. I paid half of my wedding from the money I made in dog walking. When I was just a mobile notary, I saved all that money into a particular account. And I'm not kidding you. I was getting clients for $25, $30. And here's, if you're in a hard climate county or state like Arizona, they hire you for a 30-minute dog walk, but we all know you cannot walk a dog for 30 minutes in 125-degree heat. You'll kill it. And so they'll pay you $25 just to go let them out because they're stuck at work or they're traveling, but it's a 5-minute appointment. And so I made bank. But during holidays, I live in a really large community with lots and lots of residents, and everyone knows that I always work from home. And I've just made it very clear, like, I love everyone's dog. I love dogs, and people hire me all the time just to walk their dogs. And I never have to leave my property nowadays. So there's lots of side hustles. And here's the thing, Unlimited Ink, multi-million-dollar company. And I still have side hustles that I go do. Sometimes it's nice to just get out of what you're talking notary work sometimes. And here's one more food for thought. Right now, TikTok is the new way to sell things, right? It is the new way, and it seems like everything you watch is either funny or it's trying to sell you something, right? Like, that's all we see. Be very careful. I go through these TikToks, and I have signed up for content writing. I have signed up for this. I've signed up for that, and it all leads to dead ends. Very little actually sometimes works out from those videos. Let me explain why. Tried and trues like Lyft, DoorDash, all those things. If you know someone who is doing it, then you can take a risk or waste some time on it. But if you don't know them, a lot of you may have even found this industry because of people going, I made so much money, or I'm able to make $5,000 a month, or I'm able to make $10,000 a month. But what you don't understand is if you touch anything on that screen while they're talking, it's following you until you actually sign up for it. So they get paid. So they're not making their money from actually doing those things. They're making their money from you buying into it. So, that's our industry, and that's every industry. So be careful on TikTok. Someone is making money off of you if you go to read about it after you've watched it. It's called affiliate marketing, and TikTok is probably the largest platform for affiliate marketing right now. Instagram is probably second. So just be very careful while you're looking for side hustles. Make sure that you know someone who's already doing it. And if it sounds too good to be true, probably is. I want to check and see if we have any questions from the chat. Miss Beth, have you seen any questions that came in?
Nothing in chat. We're pretty clear.
Okay, Miss Anissa, you are up next.
Just real quick, the other day I spoke to you about my 1099 and you said to get in touch with Hannah. How does Hannah spell her name?
It's one of the I forget the name of it. I have to say this. It's spelled the same way it is forwards and backwards. Hannah. And if anybody knows what that's called, please tell me. There's a word to describe a word that is spelled
Oh yeah, look at that.
forwards and backwards. I just don't know the name of that word.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Palindrome.
What's
It's
it
a
called?
palindrome. Palindrome.
Palindrome. Yeah. During Hannah's first interview, she actually taught me that word and I forgot it. But
All right, thank you.
yes, it's Hannah. And you can also, her email has a double email address. So if you have any problems with it, you can just put accounting@unlimitedinknotary.com. Just remember it's INK when you spell ink.
Oh, yes. All right, thank you.
Thank you. And then Miss Gardner, when you are ready, we are ready for you. Love that background.
Thank you. I wish
You're ready for the beach.
I'm ready. So my ears perked up when you mentioned online core reporting.
Mhm.
The reason being, I'm certified in core reporting, although I'm not currently practicing on the steno and voice. I had a change of careers reason why I left the industry, nothing to do with the industry whatsoever. It was just, my full-time job thing.
Mhm.
So since you mentioned that, what is the new information that you're referring to in terms of that? You do that from home? Do you have any information to share? Anything that you might know that I can look into?
Miss Kelly's hand flew up right there, so I'm gonna see if she has some input on that question.
I do. I was in a Facebook group meeting last night with Amy Seitz. Is that how you say her name? From Sizit and 757 Sister Notary. And a lady came on and she went through the court reporting academy. And I just sent Ronnie that information too. So I've been feeding him information. They need notaries to come online to swear people in. And they need, and they like using notaries, basically again, because we have already passed a lot of the background checks. So there's a whole variety. Not every state is in on it because they don't like to use remoteness, but there are some cases that they still need remoteness and they do depositions through Zoom. Okay, so that's what I'm listening to also, because I did check into Wedding Efficient. I'm not so sure I want to get up and marry anybody, but it is on my radar and I'm trying to feed Ronnie that information too, because sometimes I run into a stumbling block. So.
Can you drop in the chat for me, please? The name of the company that you just mentioned, National Notary. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? Because I forgot already.
Yeah, I'll drop it in the chat. And I do also want to say, if you guys are not listening to Ronnie and his podcast, I learn a lot about Ronnie. Okay.
It's not my podcast, it's Abraham Zamora's podcast. I just am a
let's just say that we had tea, okay, y'all. It was quite interesting.
That's actually Abraham Zamora's podcast. It's called Notary Business Talk. And if you don't know Abraham Zamora, the notary entrepreneur, great podcast. I'm not on there all the time. I'm just a guest once a month. But he's got a great podcast to go. Next up is Danielle Fields. Miss Danielle, are you ready? We can hear you moving, but we can't hear anything else. Okay, we're gonna go on to the next question, and then you just raise your hand again if you when you're ready. Miss Anissa, when you are ready.
Okay, my question addresses a form that Beth was doing in our morning class. It was about the representative acknowledgement. If I just wanted to make sure that I'm reading the document correctly and that the right information goes in the right place. So, Beth, you there?
I am, go ahead.
Okay, so it says, instrument is acknowledged and it has the date, it's by the signer as power of attorney of Ronnie Mickle.
As attorney in fact, that's the title
minute.
I'm looking for.
Okay, hold on. So its name of the signer would be Anissa Bea
Okay,
as attorney in fact of Ronnie Mickle, and then the person, the notary signs.
yep,
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I did it in the right order.
yeah, you got it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, guys, this is a perfect time to let you guys know for the Notary Stars members, if you run into documents, if you need help, the NNA, if you have a membership, can always help you with notarial certificates. But when you come into documents that are with loan signings, that's what Notary Stars really specializes in. The NNA will only answer questions about notarial certificates. They can't answer or won't answer about loan documents for the notary support line. So for those of you that do have memberships, we have, when you sign up, we send you a text message. It's also in your dashboards. So if you run into an issue, you can call that notary support line and get help while you're out in the field, and it does not matter who you're working with. So we're there from 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time until 10 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, sometimes up to 11 or 12. But we are there for you to ask questions, and we also have an email address inside your dashboards so that you can email us. The reason I'm not stating it now is because it is for the members, but General Mentorship, what we're doing right now, is open and available for any membership level, and you can invite a friend. So if you have a notary that's just starting out in their career, please, let them know this is a safe place to come and ask questions and get them. And we have, peers helping peers here. So if you're sitting there listening and you hear something and someone's asking a question, please feel comfortable enough to raise your hand and say, hey, I'd like to comment on that, because we want you guys to interact with each other. This is our second or third mentorship that we've actually opened up for everyone. And I appreciate you guys attending, and, but we want you guys to feel comfortable here to kind of work with each other and help each other. It's not just about myself and Beth. We want you guys to interact with each other too, because this is the best notary community in the world. So we want you guys to love each other a little bit more, get to know each other, break some molds, make a friend while you're here, follow somebody else, so that you can build your notary business with good peers. Miss Beth, do we have any questions out of the chat?
Nope, all clear.
Okay, guys, I would love to know, we're going to do a last call for questions, and that's usually when we get the most questions, but we are going to do a last call for questions for the hour, and just see if anybody has any, if you're out there and you got a question and you're timid, go ahead, we'll treat you well, but we'd love to hear your questions. Miss Odessa, you have a question there?
Yes, one question. When I print my documents, I use a MacBook.
Mhm.
The two options I have is print to printer area or print to paper. Which one of those options, because they were saying something about having Adobe and all that kind of stuff to make sure the scans and everything pick up, the scan bars. So which one of those would be the correct one?
So I'm not sure I understand the question. I do know that every notary signing agent in the country has to have Adobe. It's just, you've got to have it. So you downloaded your documents onto your computer, correct?
Mm-hmm.
It's a PDF.
Correct.
And when you open up that, are you trying to print from your phone or are you trying to print from your computer?
From my computer.
Okay, so when you
From
click
the
on
MacBook.
when you click on print, you should be able to select the printer that it's going to.
Correct, and I do that.
Okay, and then where would the issue be happening?
Okay, when it comes to because all my instructions on a lot of my forms said, make sure you print it.
Mhm.
It's not, it's not print to page, it's something else they saying, but mine's, yeah, print to scale maybe, but I don't have that option. My
You have
option
to download it to your computer before you print it. That may be where your disconnect is happening.
I am downloading it. When I hit the documents, I download and it's on my download file.
Okay.
So when you get ready to print, does it say fit? And then it says shrink oversized pages, choose paper source by PDF page size?
No, I'm not giving that option on my MacBook. Those are only two options I have is to print, fit to printable area or fit to paper.
That would be, I guess, the equivalent. And what, just out of curiosity, what is what kind of printer do you have?
I have a HP LaserJet M404.
Okay, and are you using their software to print, or is it the traditional dialog box from?
From my printer.
Okay, let me just take a look. I'm gonna open up see if I can open up a PDF here that doesn't have anything too revealing on it. Let's see, certificate.
When I have to print legal size papers, I go to page setup. And then from that, I choose paper size when I have to do all legal documents. And then all my documents are defaulted to legal size.
Okay, yeah, that's what I do as well. On mine.
Okay, and then I generally will shrink mine to, instead of 100%, I use 96%. Because sometimes when you're doing faxes, that top fax line at the very top of the page, I want everything that my original documents say, I want that line up there too. And sometimes you have to shrink it down in order to catch that.
Right, because I printed something, I have another closing tomorrow at 12, and that fax line didn't print on my paperwork.
Yeah, you got to shrink it.
Okay.
And
'Cause
I'm gonna share my screen. Keep talking, Miss Anissa, and then let me know when I can talk. But I'm gonna
Okay.
share my screen to talk.
I was gonna say, my theory is that if they sent it to me with that top line, I need to make sure that whatever they put on that paper is on my paper to the client, because maybe that line is super important that they know it's a fax and not original copy. So I shrink it until I can get it on the page.
Okay, because I wasn't able to pick that fax line up on the pages.
It's
And I was
important.
wondering if that was important. And I did
Mhm.
both options and neither one of them came up. It
Well,
didn't
that's
come
why
up.
you got to
Okay.
just shrink it down. I'm done, Ronnie.
Okay, so Miss Odessa, I shared my screen here. Just want to make sure you can see it.
I can.
Okay, so this is printing the PDF, and when I hit print here, you can see that there's two, and it sounds like you have a similar option. Mine says fit and actual size.
Mhm.
So if you watch this preview right here, you'll see where it says fit, there is a border, like a slight border here.
Right.
When I click on actual size, you'll notice that there is no border. So it's gonna kind of bleed off the page, which means
Right.
it could take something out of there if it's not in the printer. I
Mhm.
usually use mine to fit when I'm printing loan documents because it doesn't really shrink anything. It just keeps anything from going outside the border of the printing area.
Okay.
I always use fit on my documents and then
Mhm.
choose by legal size. When I've noticed, and this is probably what Miss Anissa is talking about, if there's like a little line at the bottom or the top, that might
Mhm.
get cut off when we're doing actual size.
Right. And that's what those little the fax information didn't print out on the paper. So I'll just go back and change the percentages and see if it.
And then also in the Notary Stars library, we do have some, under the technical videos, we do have some community tips about printing with Mac as well. So you may want to look into that to see if any of the Notary Stars have posted anything that might be helpful to you as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ronnie, to add to tag on to that, what about when it's mixed, like it's letter and legal in the same document?
On the same, well, you got to have just letter or legal. You mean in the same package?
Yeah, same package. I'm sorry.
So when you're printing that, you have to choose, you have to have both of your trays set up on your printer. and you have to have, tray one named as legal or letter, whichever one you prefer. I do the top tray letter and the bottom tray legal. And then you choose that button that says actual size, choose page by PDF size. And it will automatically feed it the way that it came to you.
I'm so scared of that because I've done that before and walked away and came back and everything was screwed up and I had printed like a whole ream of paper. So now I make sure I separate them and then print them out because
I'm gonna tell you, you are not the only one. If anybody here tells me that they have ever not messed up a print job, then I'll give you $5 because I know it's a lie.
And it ended up being so bad that I just had to end up printing everything out on legal. And I have a paper cutter. I just cut the ones that was supposed to be 8.5 by 11 down because I couldn't keep reprinting like that. So
I separate mine with Notary Rotary. I can't go through all of that.
yeah, I do that now too, but before it was crazy. But I have a brother, and it's supposed to be the good one, good on, and it's supposed to actually do it for me. I'm supposed to be able to print, and it does letter, legal, or whatever. Like while I'm printing, I'm not supposed to have to stop, but I need to call brother and like get them to walk me through why it's not doing that. So
yeah,
Ronnie,
once you do get that set up, or you, if you want to check, part of the membership at Notary Stars, I'm just going to share the screen and show you where this is. So those of you who can't see it, part of that membership that you have outside of your training, if you go into this part that says Notary Tech, Travis,
I did.
Travis spent a lot of time. Sorry, I'm logged in as the different person right now. But if you go under the Notary Tech, Travis put an entire library about how to set up your printing there that may be helpful to you as well.
And if you have a Mac computer, sorry, my voice is hoarse. Search YouTube on how to connect your brother printer to a Mac. I just bought a brand new Mac desktop and I had the same issue, and the issue is actually with the driver. So Mac automatically wants to use an AirPrint driver. It wants to use its own driver. You have to go on the brother website and download an older version of the driver. It's called a PostScript driver. And when you install that driver into your Mac computer, then it will print with the dual tray. But Mac is just weird that they always want to use their own stuff, and that's what's preventing you from printing in dual tray.
Thank you so much for letting us know that. Would you be willing to do a CommuniTIP with Miss Beth to get it out to all the notaries out there just on that old driver and how you did it in that remedy?
Yeah, I'll brush up on it, and absolutely. I want to say I did a YouTube video about it, but I don't think I ever put it out. But yeah, I'm willing to do that.
Awesome. Send your email over to Miss Beth in the chat, and let's see if we can't get you queued up for a CommuniTIP. I think that would be something that would be the notaries would really appreciate. We can get it out to as many notaries as possible, because I have to tell you, Macs are the worst for this business, but there are ways to work with them. Mr. Stephen, you have been so very patient there with your hand up, and we're just waiting to hear from you. So let's hear from you next.
All right, so I do have a question, but to comment on the last thing that Aru was talking about with the printers and all that, my experience with that is I have a HP LaserJet monochrome dual tray printer. It was like $800, and but I love it. I love it. I don't. It does everything I need it to do. But one thing I noticed is that when and as far as my settings go, I always click print as sent as PDF size as a sent, and it'll print off. So then I don't have to worry about, like, because somebody mentioned that they print off legal and the letter separately, and then they take them all and they put them in order themselves. Like, I've done that before. That takes a lot of time. A lot of time. And it's nice if you can just get your settings set up to where you just push print and it prints off every page in order on the same side, on the right side of the paper. But at the same time, like, at least with my printer, I can't walk away necessarily. I have to stay there because if I try and let the whole thing print and stack up, a lot of times if it's over like 75 pages, it'll be too high and then it'll start like, next thing you know, I'll come back. If I were to walk away and come back, I'd have papers all over the floor, you know what I mean? And then I'm stuck trying to figure out what goes where. So, because I remember, I think I heard one of the ladies saying that she walked away and then, or that she'd leave and she'd come back and it'd be all messed up. So yeah, so in my experience, I couldn't leave because even if it prints out in order, I still have to pull them out like out every so often and stack them on the desk or whatever. So that's my experience with that. But then my question is, so is there any way that, because you mentioned on like SnapDocs and signing order, you said that people can that they can leave bad reviews about notaries.
Mhm.
Is there any way that, like, how would we know if we have a bad review on any of those? Is there any way to know or find out?
Great question. I love answering this question, and I want to encourage you guys to, you can go to Google and say, Notary Stars, what signing agencies think about you, and you'll get a couple of videos that I've done. So no, they don't show what the notary feedback is. The only person who is able to see that is a signing agency that is actually processing orders through there. And there's an agreement that says we can't share that information with anyone. Now, theoretically, there's no reason for somebody to put any reviews on you unless they've actually interacted with you. But I will tell you, when a notary gets blacklisted 3, 4, 5 times, most companies just come back behind them and be like, you know that old saying, if you've been married 9 times, hell, maybe it's you. Sometimes if you get to 3, 4, 5, 9, I've seen somebody with 70 something. I mean, that had to be trying to get blacklisted, but I've seen people blacklisted 72 times. I don't know what they did, but I didn't want to work with them. But you don't know. And I have worked with signing order, and I'm hoping it'll file suit. So at Unlimited Ink, when I put negative feedback on a notary, if they make an error, then it's a minor feedback and it stays there for 30 days. And it reminds my team to remind them when they pick up the phone. And if you've ever worked with Unlimited Ink, you might get the conversation like, and I'm just saying this name because she's one of our best notaries I can see on the screen. And I might say, Miss Anissa, don't forget this time. We don't have to do that with her because she's a white glove. But in the beginning, we might say, hey, you've got 3 errors. Be careful this time. We need you to do better. We use it properly and then we remove it after 30 days. If it's a really bad error, we still remove it after 30 days. Most companies leave it there permanently because they don't think like we do. So we've asked signing order to build in basically to refresh all notary feedback and do it like AMROC. AMROC automatically 30 days, it falls off. If it's a major error, you might get 60 or 90, like if you did something really bad. I would love to see this system for both SnapDocs and signing order. And if we can make it happen with one, we can make it happen with all platforms. And if we can make this happen and it works, then I will advocate for it. And I will have you guys help me advocate for it with platforms, because I do not believe that there is anybody in this country, even if it's malicious behavior. Let's face it, if you did something intentionally, then I'm going to go after your notary commission, period. I'm not going to ruin your career. So I think that we should start working together on that, from this point, and let's have that conversation with those platforms saying, hey, I get better with time, not worse with time. So these reviews should not be haunting me. So I'm glad that you asked that question. And I hope that you guys will be watching at Notary Stars, because this is part of the journey this year. Remember, stronger together. And so right now you can't see your feedback, but I also think you should. And I'm talking behind the scenes with these platforms, and let me tell you why. If anybody here has done Uber or Lyft, immediately when you leave if the customer has done, and you will either do better, right? You'll do better to get that quality score up, because if you get to a certain point, then you can't be used. They won't use you on those platforms. If you get, I think it's like Uber, if you get below 4.5, you're done. You can't even log into the system, and you have to wait until that quality score naturally goes back up. I think notaries would operate the same way. I think if they saw their quality score, they'd be like, let me get into some training. Let me figure out what I'm doing wrong. And those things. So I am advocating for that. and at the right time. And part of the Notary Stars Unlimited conversation that's coming this year. So please follow that once a month meeting, because it's all about how to secure our futures and make them better. It has nothing to do with promoting Notary Stars. It is about coming together as a country of notaries with 50 different points of view, 50 different states. But that was a really great question. So thank you for asking. And I know I give long-winded answers, but I try not to leave anything out.
No, it's good. It's good. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We have, I had done last call, but we have 4 hands up on the screen, or 3 after this question. You guys know I'm notorious for answering all the questions as I can. Last week I had to cut someone off, but we have 3 on the screen. We're going to stay for these 3. We're going to go with Miss Amy. I'm ready when you are.
Hi, Ronnie. Thank you for taking my call. It's going to be quick. I had a signing this morning for a seller package. I got there, got all the papers out. They looked at the numbers. They said, absolutely not. There's $10,000 off on these documents. We never got the documents to review. We're not signing. Then I called the signing agency. They told me to reach out to Title. I spoke with Title. Title said, okay, let's do this. Have them sign only the warranty deed and the owner's affidavit. Those were the only 2 documents that needed notarization. Everything else shred. Now, when I went to SnapDocs to fill out the, after you're done with your signing and stuff, I did put in there, no, signer did not sign. And, they asked for explanation. So I wrote out everything. Should I have expected like a full pay on that? Or should I, because they said they'll pay for print fee and travel fee. Should I have requests? I mean, how should I handle that?
That is between you and the signing service. At Unlimited Inc., we have our own cancellation policy.
Okay.
So it's really how they handle it.
Okay.
We have some instances where if the notary goes to the appointment and the signer cancels for any reason, then we still charge, and we have some clients so we can't. We try to make it as uniform as possible, but that's going to be really dependent upon the hiring party, and I cannot speak for all of them. So
that's all right.
That's one of the things, though, that I'll tell you personally, I don't like. I feel like if a notary goes to a table, and I have to do it this way at Unlimited Inc. too, I feel like if a notary goes to the table, they should be paid for the full job, but truth of the matter is they're usually not.
Okay. All right. That's all. I just want to hear your input. Thanks again.
Thank you. I appreciate the question.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that other people here need to hear that too as well. We have Cher coming up next. If I could turn back time.
Is that Cherie?
Is it Cherie?
Yes.
Okay, because it says SHER. So.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. You're seeing my
your name, like
alias.
Yeah.
Alias. Yeah. So I just wanted to share the person that had an issue with the brother print situation. Been there, done that on 2 different printers. I'm an absolute expert in getting it done. So if they want to send me an email, we can get together and I can literally walk them through how to resolve that issue.
I love you for coming up and saying that. And I would love for you to also reach out to Miss Beth and see if we can't get it out as a community tip. Anything that you work with, go over, maybe film that on Zoom as you're helping them. See if we can't get that out, because there's so many people that do use Macs, and we don't charge. We'll put it out for free just to help the notary community, because if you're willing to help one person, let's film it and help a lot of people.
Not the Mac situation. There was someone else that had an issue with the print size. They had a brother printer.
Okay.
And it was printing, like she had to use legal because, she wasted paper. Been there, done that. So I know exactly how to resolve that issue with 2 very long phone calls with brother and Adobe, thinking it was an Adobe issue when it was actually a brother issue. But like I said, 2 brand new printers, almost threw one out the window because I thought it was, but it works perfectly now. So I can definitely get with Beth. Just let me know. I'm actually about to go into a signing in 15 minutes, but I just thought I would jump on this call. Great information as always. And FYI, I know the company which you're talking about that you can't say their name. I almost got bit myself, but I was smart and did my research before accepting the assignment, accepted it, researched, reached out and said, I'm sorry, I can't help you.
Yep. I appreciate you. And, you know, to wrap it up with you, because I know you're about to go into a signing. Anytime you guys do anything, now, if you've got your own channel, great, you know, promote it on your channel. But if you film anything, if you help another notary and you do something and you want to send it in, film it while you're doing it, and then we can put it on the Notary Stars channel as you know, getting it out there, because anybody that subscribes will get to see it. We'll put a little disclaimer on it. We'll make sure, if you can say, I don't want people to know who I am, or I do, we'll do whatever you ask. Just film it the way you want it to be seen. But help your fellow notaries, or if you have a great idea, reach out to Beth at notarystars.com. Let them know you have a CommuniTIP. It's really hard to pronounce, but it is CommuniTIP. It's a cute word that Miss Gloria and Miss Beth came up with. But you can do a CommuniTIP, and I'm telling you, notaries are just eating those up. They love them because they're coming from you guys. They're not coming from us. And I want you guys to get into the spirit of connecting with your fellow notaries. I'd love to get a CommuniTIP sent in, you know, every day and get it out there so that you guys can help each other. We'll always do the best, but that we can. But I love to see you guys helping each other. I've seen more people starting to band together in the last 7 months. I'm telling you, this downturn in the market was the best thing that's ever happened to the notary community. It's not going to last forever. If you guys have been listening to me, we're going to get through it quicker than you think. But it's caused a lot of notaries to really pull together and learn how to work with each other. And that is so heartwarming to see so many notaries banding together. I just feel like this community is going to come out swinging so much stronger than it's ever been before. Miss Grace, you are going to be our last question for the day.
Okay, hi Ronnie.
Hi there.
I have a question. I'm starting to shop for the E&O. So I did reach out to, is it Hartford? And they gave me a quote already, but I wanted to be able to see about other ones. What should I ask for? What kind of liability am I looking for? What are the tips that I should be adding and or removing from when I'm shopping for this?
Miss Beth has the perfect words for these. I hope I'm not putting her on the spot, but you taught me something about insurance when we're shopping for insurance, and it is to ask the question, does it cover me retroactively after I've canceled the policy? So if something comes up after, but you were covered, will they cover you? Isn't that right, Miss Beth?
Yeah, claims made or occurrence made basis. So occurrence means as long as it occurred during a policy period, could be 10 years ago, it's still covered. Or an occurrence made basis or made claim is there has to be a claim made during the active policy period that it occurred in. So two different things.
Oh, wow.
Those
Okay,
are
it's real confusing, but I guess.
We have an article, a blog article that kind of walks you through those two things and really takes more time to explain that process to you, more time than we have here today. And it should be on the posted on the website.
Okay.
Yeah, you just go to our blog section and it should be there for you. Now, one thing that I want to bring up on top of all of that, guys, is Miss Beth, you also taught me something about the NNA insurance, because we all use different insurance companies, and the NNA doesn't always go up to $1 million if you need it. So it is to my understanding that the insurance company that's the errors and omissions insurance by the NNA will cover you retroactively or going back in time if something happened while you were a notary, correct? Even if it's 10 years later.
It does, yes.
Okay.
NNA has the type of policy coverage that we're all looking for through merchants bonding.
So with that said, for those of you that are striving for bigger business, if you're going to become a signing agency or you want to go direct, we talk about this a lot. When you go direct, you have to have $1 million insurance policy. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts. Everybody who goes to direct business is going to have $1 million policy. I keep my NNA insurance for when I'm operating as a notary under a signing agency, and then I have $1 million policy. You cannot be overinsured. As a notary, you can have more than one errors and omissions insurance. And when I work with signing agencies, I do not provide them my $1 million policy, because all signing agencies should have a $1 million policy covering you. I give them my lower amount. And so if I get sued, they're going to go after that lower policy, which I need my $1 million policy to stay intact. And I only provide that to the clients that I service through Unlimited Inc. so that, if something happens, and that's why signing agencies want to see you with a higher amount, 250, 100, 500,000, because then they have less liability. When they have $1 million policy, if you have $25,000 and something goes wrong and it's $100,000, I've got to dip into my $1 million per car's policy. So this is why you want to keep higher insurances to be more appealing. But I did want to let you know you can have 2 insurance policies, and I recommend having that NNA policy in addition if you're going bigger to $1 million policy. If you are working with the general public, I would definitely make sure that I only ever presented to the general public my NNA, because you do know when you tell somebody in the general public that you have $1 million policy covering you, that you're opening up a target on your back. Okay. It's just like when I filed for my life insurance and I put all the people on it. I got so mad at my insurance company. They called all my beneficiaries and asked them questions and all that stuff. And I was like, you do not, because we have a keynote man policy for me at Unlimited Inc. And I was like, I do not need people to know how much I am worth dead, because it is way more than I am alive right now. And I was like, you're going to have people come out of the woodwork and kill me. So just make sure that you are using your insurance properly, and don't be afraid to have more than one. I know for the newer guys that are not making, and girls that are not making as much as they could be at the moment because they're getting their business going, it might be like, great, that's one more thing else I have to buy. But just remember, when you're only working with signing agencies, you only need one from the NNA, and preferably a higher one, because that makes you more appealing. But if you are striving for bigger business, you will have to spend the bucks on getting an additional policy. And I hope a lot of you are striving for direct business, because all of you deserve it. Every single one of you. There's a direct client out there waiting to hire you right now. You just haven't met them yet.
And another question that I have, when we advertise, what you're just saying about there's some people out there that they're just waiting to see who they could sue. But I'm seeing that when we advertise, we put there bonded and insured. Is that a proper way of putting it? Because I'm a massage therapist and we all have a liability insurance, but we've never put in our advertisement that we're insured.
Yeah.
Okay. But I don't know why.
Really only for signing agencies. The general public, I would skate by it. If you look at any of the landing pages for Unlimited Inc., we don't talk about insurance at all to the general public. For the signing, what our landing pages is pages for signings for title companies and escrow attorneys, we have it on there. So it is, and sure, general public can see that as well, but we generally market one way to the general public and market one way to title and escrow. I do not advertise I don't want to even put it in someone's mind that something could possibly go wrong so that they would want to come back and sue. And
that's what I think. Okay.
If you're, and I will tell you something, my former roommate back in the day was a massage therapist, and I have lots of friends who are massage therapists. If anybody didn't know, I actually, because you guys know I'm a dork and I go get all kinds of certifications to put all over my wall. I actually went to school and took every class for massage therapy that it is. I will tell you, I didn't know until I went and took all the classes that massage therapists carry
we carry liability.
And sometimes when and this is just me being funny, but I do think this, you never know who you're going to get if you go to like Massage Envy, or if you hire through Soothe or Zeal or whatever. You never know who the therapist is going to get. I have some favorites, but good, just like good notaries, good therapists are booked. But when I'm getting a bad massage, which if you get massages, sometimes the person's not great. I think, well, at least I could slip off the table and get 10 grand. And it goes through my mind. I wouldn't do that, but it has crossed my mind. This could turn out, this bad massage could turn around to be better if I get 10 grand. So, people think those things, and even though I think them and laugh about them and make a joke about it, there may be someone out there that sees that amount and are looking. And remember, criminals, that's their profession. And to close this off, to let you know, like, you may think criminals don't exist, but the biggest criminal I've ever seen as a notary, and it happened to one of our Arizona notaries. This is why you got to be careful, protect your stamp. I got a call from my neighbor about 7 or 8 years ago, and there was a FedEx. I've always lived really close to FedEx and really close to UPS, and because of this job, and try to be in the center of the city for those things. And I got a call from FedEx one night around 9:30, and they were like, "Ronnie, you got to come up here and check out, what's going on." There was a notary at we don't know if they were a notary. They had cut out the stamp of the seal and was laying it on top of trust documents and running it through and then signing with a wet signature. And it looks so like real. That happened to one of our Arizona notaries. And unfortunately, and I don't want to use her name. Let's just make up a name. Let's say her name on the notary was Jane Doe. This person also had a notary license, but they were using her stamp as Jane A. Doe. And every title company in the country has blacklisted this notary. Attorneys have gone after them, but it hurt the good notary that didn't do this. They took their name because it was so similar, found a way to get a document with their stamp on it, and then started notarizing documents through a scanner at FedEx. This is why you have to protect your stamp, and you don't leave loose certificates around that are not with optional information to help protect yourself. But I know my good notary had lawsuits filed against her because they thought it was her, and it wasn't her. And just be careful. So I know I'm always the bummer. I'm always the one telling the bad story. I feel like when I call my mom, I'm like, "Mom, can't you talk about anything happy?" But we have to talk about these things too, not just the fun part and making money. We have to talk about the protection parts too. And we got onto it from insurance. So with that said, if you don't mind turning on your cameras, we are at the end of the session for today. If you don't mind just turning on your cameras for a moment, I'd like to do our little signature wave and say goodbye for today. So if you are not naked or stuffing your face with a sandwich at the moment, please turn on those cameras and wave to yourself, wave to those future notaries, wave to those who couldn't be with us today. And Miss Beth, how do we say it?
We always want to remind you to always be helpful, help somebody, help that notary next to you. You have to remember, we're all in the same storm. We just maybe aren't in the same boat. Some of us have yachts, some of us have rowboats or canoes, and some of us are drowning. We're in the water. So reach back, guys. Grab that notary next to you or behind you and bring them along with you.
All right, guys, you have a wonderful day, and we will see you next week.